Hi, I'm Fraser Douglas, the avid tent camper. Today is the second weekend in July of 2016. Abe and I have driven up to northwestern Indiana, where we're camping at the Prophetstown State Park near Lafayette. We've set up our camp, and now I'd like to show you a little bit about the campground and the area around it. Prophetstown State Park is located near Lafayette, Indiana, just off of I-65, about 60 miles northwest of Indianapolis and about 120 miles southeast of Chicago. It's Indiana's newest state park, and it is characterized by numerous stone structures. The most notable stone structure is this bridge inside the park. Here is the entrance to the Aquatic Center. On hot summer weekends, this aquatic center is a popular destination. The campground has two loops. The first loop, called the Spruce Loop, was laid out in an old Christmas tree farm and has lots of evergreen trees scattered through the campsites. The second loop, called the Savannah Loop, is laid out in the Prairie. This is where our campsite was located. Two things that I really like about this campground are the large crushed stone campsites that have plenty of room for our tent and tarp and car and another tent if we had one, and the fact that the picnic tables can be moved. We're in site 209. The campground is full for the weekend. We were very fortunate to reserve a site ahead of time. This is our campsite. Notice that this part of the campground is set in tall grass prairie land. There's quite a bit of a wind blowing today, and so you see our tarp is really reacting to the wind. We're probably going to have to take it down tonight if the wind continues. We've only set up one little table here because we're going to be very active tomorrow, and then we're planning to leave on Sunday morning and head up to Wisconsin. We've got our tent set up, and we've got our mattresses and sheets, although we haven't finished setting up our sleeping quarters. There's our blankets over there, my pillow. After eating egg tacos for breakfast Saturday morning, we headed out for a full day of activities. The first activity was a 1-hour art class in which Ava learned how to paint wildflowers in the prairie.
Pale green vein, and all those, then this curve is kind of fun. Here's another lovely curve. And the translucency of the beach, there's a shadow of an ant. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. The shadow of the ant as it walked across? That's the kind of thing that can add just a little life to composition. If you stood to paint, look at the background. And you could stand and look at it and then sit down and paint, and stand and look again. That background is so dark green. That is when I would use green with black. You'll find you don't need as much quantity of paint when you're using black. It darkens things and kills colors very quickly. But you could blend that on your palette, and then after you've painted the flowers, go into, and just emphasize those wiggling shapes of the petals. You could paint one flower, right? You wouldn't have to show the whole arrangement. Or you could back up and look at the landscape. You have lots of pale green, dot, 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 purple, little sparkles of shine over here. Amazing. Like the shine on a river, this reflection.
Here, Ava is showing her finished painting. After the painting class, we went to the visitor center where we got a guided tour of the Prairie wildflowers and the Indian village. Here are some wildflowers. This is a tribal meeting hall, and this is a model of a typical Shawnee village. Then we went to the Tippecanoe battlefield, where we learned how the Federal Army defeated Tecumseh and his brother, the Prophet's warriors. I always enjoy seeing old hatchets and knives in the museum displays. After touring the museum, we came back to the park and wished that we had brought our bicycles because it has a very nice paved bike trail. And we wished that we had brought our grandchildren to play on this playground. Saturday afternoon, Ava and I rode up to the farm. We enjoyed learning more about the animals and quilting, but I especially enjoyed talking with the blacksmith, who made this tomahawk head from a railroad spike. Saturday night, we attended a children's art program in the park. Most of the campers in the campground were camped in travel trailers and RVs, but there were a few tent campers scattered about. Here are some of their campsites. Ava and I are relaxing. There's Ava. But we just wanted to let you hear the children playing and the birds singing.
See you, goodbye. I know.
We also enjoyed watching all the people riding their bicycles and walking around the campground loop. Well, we've run out of time here at Prophetstown State Park, and we need to move on to our next destination. But there are several other things that we would have liked to have done if we had more time. For example, I'd like to drive up to Indiana Beach, which is not too far from here, and spend a day, amusement park and water park there. And I'd also like to ride over to Purdue University and spend a day there. Perhaps we can do those things on our next trip up this way. Sunday morning, we had to pack up and head to Wisconsin. I hope you've enjoyed this overview of Prophetstown State Park, and I recommend that you consider this anytime you're up in the northwestern Indiana area. For more information about great tent camping destinations in the Lake Michigan states, please read the Family Camping Guide to Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, and Indiana. For information about this book and information about other great tent camping destinations, please visit my website, www.basictentcamping.com. To learn more about modern tent camping equipment and procedures, read my book, Basic Tent Camping, and visit my Facebook page, Modern Tent Camping. Remember, take more trips, travel further, visit more attractions, and save money. Go tent camping.